Today, we are diving deep into the mind of the octopus, a creature so bizarre and so intelligent, it really challenges our whole definition of what a mind can even be.
So let's just start with a really wild idea, shall we? A few years back, a paper co-authored by 33 scientists floated this fringe theory that octopuses might actually have extraterrestrial origins, that they arrived here on Earth as cryopreserved eggs riding on a comet. Now, okay, I know this is far from mainstream science, but it gets at a really fundamental truth about these animals. They just feel alien. The real story, though, it's somehow even stranger.
And that's where the real journey begins. See, the alien nature of the octopus isn't about spaceships, it's about evolution. As the philosopher of science Peter Godfrey Smith puts it, they are an independent experiment in building a mind. To even begin to understand their intelligence, we have to follow their completely unique path. And our first clue is a big one. Our first clue lies in this just immense evolutionary gulf that separates us from cephalopods. And we're not talking about distant cousins here, we're talking about a fundamental split, right at the dawn of complex animal life. Just try to wrap your head around that. 600 million years. Our last common relative was the simple little wormy thing. And from that humble beginning, two completely separate paths to intelligence just bloomed, each one a totally unique experiment in what it even means to be smart. This timeline really shows you just how deep that split is. So after neurons first show up, our little worm-like ancestor appears, and then, boom, the family tree forks hard. One branch leads to us, fish, reptiles, mammals, the whole vertebrate crew. And the other, it leads to the octopus. They've been on their own evolutionary journey for 600 million years. Okay, now for our second clue, the octopus's nervous system. And folks, this is where things get really, really weird. So, a common octopus has about 500 million neurons. That's a lot. It puts it right up there in the same league as a lot of vertebrates. But the most surprising part isn't the number of neurons. It's where they are. This completely flips our whole idea of a brain on its head. In you and me, pretty much all our neurons are packed into our skulls. But for an octopus, only about 10% are in what you'd call its central brain. A staggering 60% are distributed throughout its 8 arms. That's right, the majority of its brain is in its arm. This decentralized system means there is a massive amount of processing happening locally in the arms themselves. In fact, the connection back to the central brain is surprisingly small. It's a major bottleneck. So you gotta stop thinking of it as one brain controlling 8 simple limbs. It's way more like a central CEO with 8 brilliant, semi-independent managers who can pretty much act on their own. And this concept has a name. It's distributed control. The central brain might give a general order, like, hey, go check out that rock over there. But each arm has the autonomy to figure out the nitty-gritty details on its own. It can taste, it can touch, it can react, all without constantly having to check in with headquarters. Our final clue takes us from the nervous system all the way down to the molecular level. It turns out octopuses and their relatives, well, they have a genetic superpower that's almost unheard of in the rest of the animal kingdom. This superpower is called RNA editing. Think of it this way. Your DNA is the master blueprint, locked away, safe in the library. To build something, you make a temporary copy of a page. That's RNA, and you take it to the workshop. Now, most animals, us included, use that copy exactly as it's written. But cephalopods? They're like master copy editors. They get out a red pen and scribble all over that RNA copy, changing the instructions before they build the final protein. And the scale of this editing is it's astonishing. In humans, we have maybe 1,500 places where this kind of thing can happen. The longfin squid has over 57,000. This isn't just a little quirk. This is a fundamental part of their biology. So what's the point? Well, this incredible genetic flexibility lets them adapt on the fly. For instance, squid can edit their RNA to tweak their motor proteins in real time in response to changing water temperatures. It's a trick that lets them thrive in the cold without having to wait generations for evolution to catch up. Okay, so we've got a deep evolutionary split, a distributed brain, and a hyper-flexible genetic code. Now let's see how this all comes together to create some of the most remarkable behaviors you'll find anywhere in the animal kingdom. This right here is distributed control in action. As just one sucker makes contact with something, it recruits its neighbors, creating this incredible wave of coordinated action all the way down the arm. The arm is exploring, tasting, and manipulating the object, all at once, all on its own. And this intelligence, it leads to these unbelievable feats of problem solving. You have to hear the true story of Inky, an octopus at a New Zealand aquarium. He identified a tiny gap in his tank's lid, waited for the cover of darkness, slinked across the floor, found a narrow 6-inch drain pipe, and squeezed his entire boneless body through it to make a successful getaway to the ocean. I mean, that is planning, navigation, and execution. That's a heist. And Inky is no exception. The list of documented octopus behaviors is just mind-blowing. They use tools, like carrying coconut shells for mobile armor. They pull pranks. There was one named Otto who kept shorting out the aquarium lights by squirting water at them. They show clear signs of play, of pure curiosity, and they can even recognize and react differently to individual humans. So, what does this all mean? The octopus mind is built on a completely different blueprint than ours. It's not a simpler version of our brain, it's something else entirely. This brings us right back to that idea of an alien mind. As Godfrey Smith says so perfectly, the octopus shows us another way to be a sentient being. It's this profound reminder that intelligence doesn't just look like us. It can be distributed, it can be flexible, and it can be wonderfully, wonderfully strange. And that leaves us with a final, fascinating thought. Studying the octopus might just be the closest we'll ever come to meeting an intelligent alien. If this is what one independent experiment in evolution can produce, right here on our own planet, what other incredible forms of mind might be out there in the universe, just waiting to be discovered?